The first verse. I gaze into their depths. You know, it sounds like that. Where the tension in the music starts up. Okay, well, what's he saying? Es brannte mich ein glühend Haar. Okay, okay. And all of a sudden, they're not calm anymore, right? They're a fiery pair. And Paar, P-A-R-R, is the German word for pair. Okay, Paar. Okay, noch Schmerz. And he says it twice. Noch Schmerz, noch Schmerz. Okay? Danach Gefühl. So I see myself, right? I was burned by that fiery pair. I was burned by them, and I still feel that pain. And Schmerz is the word, you know, I feel it. Ouch. Is the ouch.
Okay. Schmerz means pain.
Well, it's the hurt.
It hurts?
It hurts.
Oh,
it hurts. And Nachgefühl is the fancy word for all the agony and pain that he's feeling. Yeesh. So all of a sudden it changes, and you see the tension in the lyrics. And so what does he do with the music? He throws in all this, okay, which is going to add tons of tension. How is it going to be tense? Because it's all this non-harmonic stuff, you know. It's you know, chromatic linear movement is not very settled. You know, shifting to a distant key is not very calming. You know, it's very, very unsettling, and that's intentionally what he's trying to do. So he says, Es brannte mich ein glühend Haar, noch Schmerz, das Nachgefühl. And the good composers they add in all that stuff so you get to feel more when they're feeling through that pain. But yeah, I mean, you get that. It's just a beautiful, wonderful way to do it. You know, we don't do that enough with pop music today. You know, we got the same little doody tune that's saying, you hurt me, you hurt me, you hurt me. You know, I feel so bad. Doody doo ah doo ah doo ah doo ah. You know, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Oh. And then the next song is, I'm feeling happy today. It's a great day. Oh, doodly doo ah da 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 da. You know, and then the next song is, you stab me in the back. Oh. It's the same. It doesn't, you know, none of it changes. You know, but this, he paints pictures that match these words. Okay. Then he goes on and says, Das deine. Okay, your eyes are like a lake. So clear, okay, so klar, ist wie See so klar, okay, und wie ein See so kühl, and like a lake so cool or cold. Okay, so what is that? Do you think his situation is resolved? No. He says, I was burned by a pair of eyes just like yours, you know, and what's your reaction to me? Cold. You're cold. You're cold. I love this poem. I think it's great. It's absolutely wonderful. And to me, this is one of the reasons why I like classical art songs so much, is I think you get a whole lot more out of them as a performer than the audience does as a listener. Because you get to see what the words mean, you study what the words mean, you see why the composer's setting this up. It's very intellectual. You know, it's real. You have to be on the end to really get it. You know, if you're not on the end, on the surface, it's like, that's great. Okay, so after we get to G flat, how do we get out of it? Okay, so starting in measure 18. How do we get out of this mess that we've gotten ourselves into? And you have to understand that that was a convention in classical music. They could get you in all kinds of messes, but they wouldn't leave you there. They always get you out of it. Okay, that was a convention that they tended to follow for several hundred years there, 200 years worth. Okay, measure 18 after the G flat cadence, right? There was my authentic cadence in the key of G flat. Then he does G flat major 7 over F. Just like something I've seen before. Okay, and then E flat minor, and then what's after that? G flat over D flat. Keep giving me these chords. Next measure. A flat 7 over C. D flat. Okay. B flat minor. C flat. Keep going. A diminished over C. B flat over D. E flat, and it looks like I'm finally back in Kansas, right? By the time I get there, okay, and then he's finishing himself out, but you can see you're home by that point. Okay, now, does this look familiar to you? Look at phrase number 2. Okay, phrase 3, measure 8 and 9. Okay, 8, 9, 10, yeah. Okay, what were our Roman numerals in measure 8? 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 6, 2, 1, 6, 4, 2, 5, 6, 5, 5, 2, 5. And look what he did right here. Exact same thing. Exact same thing. Okay? And where did he put it before? Right at a cadence point, and he started a new phrase. So now he's done the same thing. Same thing, just in the other key. Efficient.
Quite
Efficient. Not wasting a whole lot of extra brain cells. He's not getting excessively creative on us. His creativity is grounded in repetition. What does that do for me as a listener? It gives me a little bit of break, a little bit of rest. Okay. Now his melody line is, how does it change? He originally, look at measure 8. Give me the solfege of measure 8. Do in the melody. Do, right? And then mi, 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 la, re, re, right? Okay. Now look over here. What's he doing on measure 18? In the key of G flat, it's do, mi, 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 la, re, re. Okay.
Just like that.
See, it's the same phrase, just in a different key. Okay, different key. Okay, so you should make some kind of note of that. Somehow or other, you need to make some kind of note of that, so you understand that this is the same material as measures 8, 9, and 10, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's just transposed. And he fleshes out his chords a little bit differently. It's still basically those, 3 lines of music, but he fleshes out his left hand a little bit differently than he did before, which is also very Brahms-like. Okay, now we're going to analyze at least 2 more pieces by Brahms over the course of this and next semester,
2 more.
and at least 2 more. I want you to. He was famous for something. Okay, this song obviously has 2 verses, right? And you see the 2 clear-cut sections to it. He was famous for something that was called a modified strophic form.
Modified.
Okay.
Strophic.
First of all, a strophe in German is a word for verse. Okay. So a song that is strophic is a song that has
more than one strophe.
Multiple verses. Okay. Now, Schubert, several years earlier in the classic era, Schubert wrote lots of strophic songs.
Ave Maria.
Okay. Yeah, but not quite the same.
Okay.
He wrote lots of strophic songs. And when you look at the music to his strict strophic songs, they look a little bit like a hymn. Because what you'll see is the music, and then there's verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, verse 4, and it's the exact same music with different lyrics. Okay, so it looks a whole lot like a hymn. Okay, so the old standard hymns like A Mighty Fortress Is Our God and Amazing Grace, those hymns were strophic form. They were verses. Okay,
Yeah,
same music, different lyrics.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, now why does that work in poetry? Well, in poetry that is strict rhyming poetry, there are, when you have a poem that goes, Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow. Everywhere that Mary went, her lamb was sure to go. Okay, so they've got the same rhyming scheme. Okay, Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. Okay, everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Okay. Okay, you know, they have these 2 words rhyme, and those 2 words rhyme. Okay, and did you know there's more verses to Mary Had a Little Lamb? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And he followed her to school one day, and made the children laugh and play to see the lamb at school. And there was all these different verses that go with it. There's actually about 5 or 6 verses to Mary Had a Little Lamb. We just don't sing them anymore.
I think that one was which was against the rule.
Yeah, which was against the rule. There's another one with that in there too. But what's interesting is in every stanza of or verse, we call them stanzas too. In every stanza or verse, there are the same number of syllables in a line, and there's the same rhyming system. Okay, so this one would have this kind of, and then they're referred to as having meter. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 7, 6. So this particular poem is 7676. Okay, if you have an old hymnal anywhere, you can find one, or you want to come by my office and borrow one. I've got a whole shelf of old hymnals. You can look in the back of an old hymnal, and you can see the. It's called a metrical index. Okay, and a metrical index is not an index of how many are in 3/4, how many are in 4/4, and how many are in 6/8. It's an index of how many are in 8/7, 8/7, and then it'll list all the songs that have 8/7, 8/7 schemes. All the songs that have 7, 8, 7, 8. All the ones that are 7, 6, 7, 6, and it'll have all these things. And what's interesting is if you have a poem that has the same rhyming scheme, you can take these different words and stick it to that tune.
Nice.
Because it will fit. Everything will fit just right. Now, what Schubert did is Schubert took the exact same music and he gave you a strict strophic form. Okay? Now, Brahms comes along, okay, in the Romantic era, and he says that's not sufficient because the words have different meaning. And I want to paint what the words mean. So like in this poem, the first stanza sounds like everything's cool and dandy. Okay? The second stanza is when it all unravels. So he does what's called a modified strophic form in that he takes pieces of the first verse, portions of the melody, and they sound similar, but he changes them up just enough that they catch you, and they paint the words. But they're not so completely new and different that they lose the hook that was there in the first one. Okay? So if you notice, his verse 1 starts melodically. Dein blaues Auge hält so still, ich blicke bis zum Grund. Du fragst mich, was ich sehen will, ich sehe nicht das Wort. Okay, now verse 2. Es brannte mich. Look at the beginning versus that. The beginning was Dein blaues Auge, and now he's going he throws a half step at you with that borrowed chord. Okay, in the beginning, it was the secondary diminished seventh there. And now he does borrowed chord. Both of them still go to the same 5. The melody is still the basic same outline, except he varies that one note. And what does it do to you? It gives you kind of like a little bit of the creepies. He's throwing you a little bit of foreshadowing and foreboding that something's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he continues on. It looks like the same melody. Da, 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 da. Here it is. Da, 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 and he's getting all passionate. He gets a little crazy and that's where he changes up. Okay. Then the next phrase, where it was Du fragst mich, was ich sehen will, that wasn't originally. Now he's back here. Das Deine ist wie See so klar. It's the same thing. Okay? In a different key, but it's the same thing. Okay? So you see, and he doesn't have. I have sung 50 plus of his I don't know, 200 art songs, and I've probably accompanied another 75 that I never sang myself, but I've accompanied so many. I did a great, horrendous disservice when I tried to enter my doctoral program and go back and construct a repertoire list, because I didn't have a full repertoire list of all the songs I'd worked on and all the years I studied voice. And as a doctoral student, I had to have a repertoire list. Well, I hadn't constructed that. So I go to all my music, and I'm trying to remember, did I sing this, or do I just know it because I've accompanied it so many times? And I couldn't remember. So it's like, okay, well, I'll just kind of fabricate this and hope nobody really asks me. I know I could sing it because I've played it so many times. I know the tune, and I can sing all the words, but I'm not sure. But with Brahms, in probably 125 of the 200 that I have experienced in some way or another, he doesn't have a specific structure of how he modifies things. It's very free into how he does it. It's not like he has a formula of, I go to a foreign key here, and then I use the first phrase again in this key, and then I'll shift back to the home key, and it's
kind of weird, huh?
Changes. But he always, invariably, always, you can see how very similar it is. It sounds so close, it's just something's a little different. You get a slight little twitch, and you don't know why. You know, and if you're just listening to him for the first time, you don't always pick up on all of that. I still feel the hook. It's just a little different. I'm a little uncomfortable. Pebble under me or something. Something going on.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that was. And then you go on. And he was very, very good about the way he created stuff like that. Very, very, very creative in how he used the same material, slightly different. Slightly different. And you guys need to do that. Do that with your stuff you're working on. That'd be a great idea. Okay, the rest of this, so how do we get out of this? How are we going to say he got out? Okay, in G flat, it looks like this part is still G flat, right? B flat minor, this could be
A borrowed chord from B flat.
oh, it could still be in G flat, right?
So G flat? Yeah. Okay.
So it's just a 3, okay? C flat is a 4, okay? And it looks like I'm getting to E flat here. So this is 5, this is 1. This is 5, 6. What's that? 7 diminished 6 of 5. And okay, look here. Borrowed 6. So again, it's a borrowed chord that is the common chord between the keys. Okay? It's a borrowed chord that is common between the keys. And notice something. Notice why he does that. Okay? What is the parallel minor of E flat? What is the key signature of E flat minor? 6 flat. So the relative of the parallel minor is where he goes. So although it is a remote key, there's a real strong connection. Real strong connection that he achieves in there. Now, the rest of this is easy. The rest of this is very, very easy. The one thing I will point out is look at measure 23, 24, 25. Okay, specifically the last beat of 23. Okay, the last beat of 23, go into 24 and 25. And the melody goes like this. Und wie ein See so kühl. Look back on page 1. Have you seen that before? See where it is? Where is it?
7, 8. No, 11 and 12.
It's the pickup to 11 and 12. Okay, one little note different. It's not ich sehe, but it's ich sehe mich gesund. And here it is over here. Und wie ein See so kühl. And it's the same notes. Same functional chord progression. 7 diminished, 6 off 5, going to 5. Actually, this time it's not, it's root position. 7 diminished to 5, going to 5, and it's got that 4-3 suspension, and then it goes to 1. Now, that gives me more cause to say the first verse modulated. Because here it is exactly the same functional harmony in the key of E flat. So that gives me more cause to say, yes, he did modulate at the beginning. Okay? So you see here in 2 different spots, he's got the same, think about it, he's got the same melody and the same functional harmony, but he sticks it in a different key. But it's actually the same melodic outline and the same functional chord progression, just in a different key. And you don't see that if you're just looking at pop chords. You only see it when you finally get to Roman numerals. Oh, this is just the same thing. Okay? Now, let's make a little, your cover sheet that I gave you to go with this. Okay? Let's make a little list at the bottom of that cover sheet that you could use as a tab to go in your notebook. Okay? What all of note is in this piece harmonically? What does he have of note? Okay, first of all, how many modulations does he do? how many keys does he go through?
2.
2 keys, okay? He goes, well, 3 total. The home key is E flat. He goes to the key of G flat, and he goes to the key of B flat. Okay? So, and actually, he kind of goes like this. He goes E flat to B flat, back to E flat, and then to G flat, and back to E flat. Okay, so that would be the map of the keys that he goes through. Okay? Got it? Okay. Now, what kind of functional harmonies of note do you see there? Give me one example of a normal secondary dominant chord. So a normal secondary dominant. Tell me where. Of a well-behaved secondary dominant.
Measure 10.
Measure 10,
5,
beat
6, 5, beat 1.
1.
5, 6, 5, 5.
Okay, so measure 10, beat 1. And then you could take your highlighters and highlight that chord. But you've already got yourself a legend for this piece by looking right here, which you refer to it. What else does he have of note, of merit?
Secondary diminished.
He's got a normal secondary diminished 7th.
Yeah. And measure 2. Beat 1 to beat 1,
Okay.
measure 3.
Measure 2, beat 1. Okay, now you understand what I'm doing? Now, you finish this out. Give yourself a legend, okay, that goes with this, and then you can put some little post-its or highlight in the actual piece so you can look at your legend, and then you can look over there. Oh yeah, there it is. Because we've got remote modulation, we've got inharmonic interpretation, we've got this, we've got borrowed chords, we've got just about everything that we've learned so far on this. Okay, here is a one-page review. I want you to do this for Tuesday. I really would like to do the exam Tuesday, but we need to go over this review a little bit, and I need to give you feedback on your part writing. So I'm kind of torn.
That's mine.
I need exam time, and we really need to get on to other things. Okay, do you all have my email address? It's on the syllabus.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you all have that? Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I'd like for you to do this review, and why don't we do the figure-based analysis for the whole page, do part writing for the minimum of 1 and 2.
Minimum of the first 2.
Okay, that's a minimum. If you want to be one of those that goes beyond, okay, part write the whole thing. Okay, but at least do the first 2. It looks like the bottom one, look at all those accidentals down there, it's kind of scary. Now, my finale program, when I'm entering figured bass, I can't do natural signs. So look down at number 3. I intended to go back and hand write in all the natural signs where there's a minus. Okay, and I didn't do that, so would you please make a note of that by that little minus, what I'm really meaning is a natural sign.
So,
Okay, so that would be a flat 6 and a natural 3 down there. If you come across something that is just so foreign and ridiculous and completely strange and rather than sitting there and wasting 2 hours and not finishing the whole assignment, because one thing, be like the stream, okay, go around it, finish the whole assignment, come back. It's always possible that I made an error because I created this, so great. Okay. So fight your way through, do that. And then let me suggest this as a process. Why don't you work your way through this, send me an email by no later than Monday morning. Okay, preferably Sunday night. And give me some feedback of how you feel about it. Okay, I'm completely lost. I think I got all of it, you know, and what I'll try to do is, I don't have all your email. Can you all send me an email like today? Sometime today, send me an email, even if it's late tonight when we get home. Send me an email, so I'll have all your emails together. And then what I'll try to do is I'll go through this and prepare a master. If I can get that out to you by Saturday, then after you've worked through it, you could look at the master and make a comparison, okay? And then when you send me your email on Sunday night or Monday morning, you can say, okay, I compared to what you did, I disagree with this, I think I was totally lost on this part, okay? But I think overall I'm okay, right? Send me some kind of reply. And then, depending on how much calamity I see, Tuesday we're going to do the exam.
Okay.
Okay? Now, so that's what we're, there's one more piece in the book. If you want to really feel good about this, there's one more analysis in that chapter. And I'll try to do that analysis and also send it out. I'm not going to make it a specific assignment. But if you want to really know that you're ready for the exam, you know, you want to do everything that you can, do that extra analysis, and I'll try to have that ready for you also that you can compare with. But this is a specific assignment.
Which one is it?
I think it's the only other one that we haven't done. It's a whole piece that you're supposed to analyze. It's at the end of the chapter. You'll see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you take up your assignments?
I took up part writing. Yes.
Are you going to have a piece like bronze on